Discover the miraculous last revelation between God and Lucifer, 3 divine truths before the fall. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, the heavens were alive with celestial majesty. Among the radiant hosts stood Lucifer, the anointed cherub, dwelling in the luminous courts of heaven where God's glory reigned supreme. With the beauty of precious stones adorning him, from sardius to emerald, he was created to reflect the brilliance of his Creator, a masterpiece of God's hand, Ezekiel 28 verse 12. Amidst the angelic throngs, he led in exalted worship, his voice a melodic tapestry of praise that echoed through the heavens, a sound that crowned him the morning star. Yet within this realm of divine perfection, whispers began to creep into Lucifer's heart, a vile whisper that sowed seeds of pride. As he gazed upon God upon his throne, reveling in adoration from the heavenly hosts, a flicker of ambition ignited. I shall ascend to heaven, above the stars of God, I will set my throne, the dangerous mantra danced in his mind, revealing the insatiable yearning to be exalted above his Creator, Isaiah 14 verse 13. This new yearning became a malignant growth, threatening the very order of heaven. The angels continued their divine duties, unaware of the tempest brewing within Lucifer's spirit. At that opportune moment, God summoned him before his radiant presence. Here, surrounded by the brilliance that was both life and substance, light pouring from the Almighty like rivers flowing from an eternal source, God's voice resonated with holy authority. Your heart was proud because of your beauty, you corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. Each pronouncement was like lightning, illuminating the dark corners of Lucifer's soul. As these truths cut to the core, a choice unfolded before Lucifer: a moment to repent, to reclaim the glory that came from humility. But the proud spirit that had captivated him hardened his heart, leading him further into rebellion. God's voice, though filled with anguish and authority, prophesied the dreadful consequences: you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the far reaches of the pit. The heavenly court trembled as the angels held their breath, sensing the rift that would alter eternity. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. Fury ignited within Lucifer's heart as the weight of his choice settled. He resolved not merely to seek elevation, but to overthrow God. The heavens trembled under the load of his ambition, stirring an epic conflict between divine order and celestial rebellion. God, in his unending love, steadfastly conveyed the truth that choices echo through eternity. As rebellion rose like a storm, Lucifer's heart embraced darkness, sealing his fate. What shall become of Lucifer's ambition? Will he heed the cry of warning, or will he plunge deeper into the abyss of his making? The stakes hang precariously high, and the divine purpose lies tremulous in the balance, leading us closer to the precipice of revelation. In this cosmic tale, both judgment and mercy await their divine unveiling, as we witness the foundation of enmity between light and darkness take form. As the echoes of rebellion swirled through the celestial heights, Lucifer sought to rally the other angels to his cause. With a heart consumed by pride, he whispered his deceitful words among the ranks of the heavenly hosts. Why should we serve one who casts judgment and limits our greatness? Rise with me against the Most High, let us ascend together, let our glory shine without end. As his voice resonated among the faithful, a portion of the heavenly beings found themselves entranced by his allure. Their gazes shifted, questioning the reign of their Creator, for chaos stirs curiosity in the hearts of both the righteous and the wicked. Yet, among the throng, those who remained loyal to God stood firm, their spirits anchored in faithfulness. The archangel Michael, fierce in courage, raised his voice, declaring, "Who is like our God? He is sovereign, the Creator of all things. Do not be misled by empty boasts, his glory is beyond our understanding." The clash of convictions intensified, as angels gathered to hear both sides. Lucifer, blazing with a fire of insurrection, opposed Michael's courage, boasting of the freedom that would come from their uprising. "What chains bind us when we could take our rightful place?" he proclaimed, eyes aflame with ambition. "We are crafted from his light, why not elevate ourselves? Behold, we can become as gods." In the heavenly court, tension mounted, for all awaited the judgment of God. The Almighty, perceiving the hearts of all, moved in silence before the assembly. Finally, his voice broke through the stillness, reverberating with power that none could deny. "I have established order, the heavens sing of my glory." Each syllable fell like thunder, piercing the heart of rebellion. In that moment, God decreed, "Let those who stand with my command remain in my light, while those who seek to take the throne shall know my wrath." The alarms of heaven rang out, as Lucifer's defiance was met with divine judgment. He and his followers were cast down from grace, a light extinguished into the void. "You were the seal of perfection," God mourned, "but pride has led you astray." As darkness enveloped Lucifer, sorrow surged among the loyal beings, who trembled in awe of God's holiness. The heavens had become a battlefield, epitomizing the eternal struggle between light and darkness, righteousness and violation. Yet even amidst judgment, a thread of mercy weaved through the conflict, for God's heart yearned for every soul drawn into rebellion. In shadows cast by their fallen leader, the loyal angels, now refined in their allegiance, gathered for divine reassignment. "Do not lose heart," urged Michael, his voice steady, "for God's plans shall endure. We stand resolute in his truth." And so, amidst the celestial murmurs, God revealed to his faithful, a new creation awaited, wherein his ultimate purpose would unfold beyond the throne, a testament to the victory of light over darkness, where hope would arise from the ashes of rebelling spirits. For, in the fullness of time, it was revealed, another being shall come to triumph over sin and darkness, the one who will crush the serpent's head. The prophecy rang out like a clarion call throughout the heavenly realm, a glimpse of God's sovereign promise secured even amidst the chaos of rebellion. What would come next? What unfathomable depths lay ahead in his grand design? The eternal story of redemption had only just begun. In the aftermath of divine judgment, the heavens stood cloaked in a reverent silence, punctuated only by the whispers of the loyal angels who remained. Shadows of treachery lingered, but the brilliance of God's truth shone ever brighter. The archangel Michael, resolute in his purpose, convened the ranks of the faithful, gathering them in an assembly around the throne of the Almighty. "Brothers and sisters of light," Michael proclaimed, his voice echoing with authority, "we have witnessed the fall of our once beloved comrade, blinded by pride and rebellion. Yet, let us not falter in our mission. The Lord has decreed that even in this sorrowful darkness, we must prepare for the coming of the one who will establish eternal order." With hearts aflame with hope and courage, the angels surrounded Michael, eager to hear the unfolding plan of the Lord. Their spirits, once shaken, now pulsated with devotion, as they longed to comprehend the mysteries that lay ahead. Suddenly, a resplendent light broke forth, and the presence of God filled the court, radiating a warmth that bespoke of love and purpose. "Fear not," God spoke, his voice tender yet commanding. "For the story of creation is not at an end, it is but the beginning of my ultimate design. From this rebellion shall arise a new path, one that shall show my grace even amidst the horror of sin. Through the offspring of the woman, my promise shall be fulfilled." The angels gasped in unison as the implications of divine revelation settled upon them. A future, albeit foreboding, lay before them to aid in the providential plan for humanity. God continued, "Life shall spring forth upon the earth, a vessel of my image and a stage where light shall combat darkness." Michael lowered his gaze, pondering deeply as realization washed over him. "Lord, shall we be set to guard this creation? To protect the image-bearers from the echoes of the fallen one? You shall be as sentinels, guardians of the realm," the Almighty confirmed. "In the hearts of men, my spirit shall dwell, guiding them toward righteousness. Yet be warned, for the enemy will not cease his efforts. He shall seek to corrupt that which is holy. Thus, the loyal angels were charged with their sacred duty, their purpose infused with divine significance. Yet within the hearts of some, questions remained. How could humanity, so feeble and prone to wander, withstand the deception of the accuser? What would unfold as the ages went by? As if perceiving their unspoken thoughts, God revealed further, through trials and tribulations, a remnant shall rise. As I have loved you, so shall my love extend to mankind, though they shall face great testing. But remember this, my faithful ones, in the fullness of time, the one who brings restoration will come. As the Lord's promise resonated in the celestial sphere, the angels lifted their voices in harmony, exalting the Creator and His unfathomable wisdom. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, the one who was, and is to come. Yet amidst their worship, darkness loomed still, the whispers of the defeated drawing near. Unbeknownst to them, Lucifer, now marred by ruin, gathered his fallen followers, seething with rage and determination. His voice, once harmonious with the heavenly choir, now oozed venomous intent. They think they shall rise unchallenged, but I shall twist this creation to my design. Their light shall dim. In the heart of celestial tension, the stage was set for an eternal contest, a trial in the realm of flesh, where the destiny of creation hung in balance and the clash of light and darkness would manifest upon the earth. For what lay ahead was under the watchful gaze of the Almighty, and though the archangel and his host were prepared, a question remained in the hearts of all: how would the promise of restoration unfold amid the relentless foe? In their struggle, the purpose of God was beckoning forth what greater glories awaited yet unseen. And it came to pass that the appointed time approached, and the Lord saw fit to reveal His design to the assembly, for He wished to affirm the steadfastness of His creation. The angels stood in anticipation, their hearts united in fervent expectation. The throne radiated light, and the aura of the Almighty enveloped them as God spoke, drawing forth the essence of His will. Know you this, He uttered, His voice thundering like the mighty waves: a new creation shall arise from the dust, formed in my image, blessed with the breath of life. Yet, they will be tested, for their hearts will be free to choose between light and darkness. The archangel Michael, ever the diligent protector, interjected, Lord, how shall they rise against the deception of the one who seeks to ensnare them? What shield can withstand his allurement? Through the truth shall they stand, God proclaimed, His tone steeped in authority. For I shall provide a covenant, a promise that binds them to me. When they stray, my love shall be their refuge, and my truth shall be their battle cry. As the angels listened, a deep silence enveloped the assembly, each cherub and seraph weighing the gravity of the moment. They understood the mighty task set before their God, but the uncertainty of the burden upon humanity lingered in their hearts. Could they truly withstand the fiery darts of the tempter? Lucifer shall rage against my creation, clinging to his bitterness and rebellion, God continued, revealing the impending conflict. He will whisper lies, wrapping his deceit with a veil of light. But lo, I shall raise up witnesses upon the earth. A remnant who shall know my voice amidst the clamor. The faithful wings of the angels fluttered in response, inspired by the Almighty's assurance. In their hearts pulsed a yearning to fulfill this divine calling, mingled with unease at the trials that loomed before them. Clouds of destiny swirled above, and every gaze turned to the expanse of the universe. Lord, who are these chosen vessels? Queried one of the archangels, his brow furrowing in reverence. Shall they bear glory as we do, or shall they falter in their flesh? They shall bear my glory reflected within their frailty, God responded. Expect not perfection, but the resolve to seek me in their weaknesses. For when they are weak, then am I strong in them. At this, the assembly erupted in worship, the sound cascading like a celestial waterfall through the heavens. Yet beneath their praises stirred a palpable tension, they were aware of what lurked beyond the earthly realm. Lucifer watched, his heart burning with malevolence, plotting his schemes. How can mere mortals resist an ancient serpent? He hissed to his fallen followers, his voice a whisper woven with lies. I shall twist their hearts to doubt the truth. Through cunning and allure, they shall abandon their Creator, and their names shall be stricken from the book of life. In that solemn unity of purpose, the angels turned their gaze back to their God, who continued, My faithful ones, the battle will be fierce, yet do not fear, for I shall send forth my word, who will dwell among them and show them the way. Through him, they will find redemption. With that profound revelation, the weight of God's plan settled heavily upon the celestial assembly. They understood now, this was not mere prophecy, it was hope interwoven with sacrifice, leading to the eventual victory over darkness. As Michael lifted his voice one last time, the echoes resonated throughout the expanse, Who is like unto our God? None. His promise stands eternal. And beneath the radiance of God's glory, a new urgency beckoned as the angels prepared to embark on their great task. Yet, as the curtain was drawn upon this momentous charge from heaven, a question lingered: how would the promise of restoration arise through flesh, when shadows loomed so dangerously close? Thus, the stage was set for creation's destiny entwined in the divine purpose, prepared to unfold through many trials a magnificent tapestry of grace yet unseen. In the fullness of time, the creation would emerge, blessed by the breath of the Almighty. On the sixth day, as the first light dawned upon the formless earth, God commanded, Let there be light. And it was so. The heavens rejoiced, and the angels sang praises, marveling at the unfolding beauty of his handiwork. Yet amidst this burgeoning creation, darkness brooded, stirred by the whispers of Lucifer, who surveyed the expanse with envious eyes. How can they be favored above us, he pondered, his heart steeped in bitterness. They shall be mere dust, animated for a moment, while we endure forever. And the Lord, knowing the secret thoughts of Lucifer, spoke once again, I have ordained that my creation shall be formed from the dust of the ground. And I shall breathe into them the breath of life, and they shall become living souls. The decree hung in the air like a fragrant offering, filled with the promise of both vulnerability and glory. Behold, the Lord continued, I shall create man in our image, according to our likeness. They will have dominion over the earth, and they shall multiply and fill it, stewarding my creation. The archangels exchanged glances, their spirits illuminated with awe. Yet, Michael's heart trembled as he inquired, O Lord, how shall they endure the trials of their existence? Will they forget the covenant, and stray from your presence? Fear not, God reassured him, for I shall place within them a longing for communion, a desire to know me. In their hearts, I will inscribe my law, and they shall walk in my ways. And when they falter, my love shall pursue them, calling them back to grace. Lucifer, infuriated by these promises, gathered his fallen brethren. Let us cast doubt upon their hearts, he hissed, his eyes burning. We will entrap them in their own desires, leading them from truth to illusion. For I shall make them question the goodness of their Creator. As God's creation bloomed in majesty, the trees swaying with life, the mountains standing tall, the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. And from his side, God fashioned Eve, a suitable companion, and he brought her to the man. This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, Adam proclaimed, marveling at the wonder of companionship. Yet, unbeknownst to them, shadows flickered in the garden, for the serpent had already cast his gaze upon the new creation. He has kept the best from you, the serpent whispered in a voice as smooth as silk. Eat of this fruit, and surely your eyes will be opened. You shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Alas, enticed by the promise of wisdom, Eve gazed upon the fruit. In her heart stirred the seeds of doubt, watered by Lucifer's cunning words. Could the Lord truly love us if he withholds this knowledge? She mused, a storm brewing in her soul. As she reached forth, the angelic hosts observed from above, their hearts heavy with the weight of impending sorrow. They had been forewarned of the rebellion that lurked within the shadows, and yet they believed in the faith that God had instilled within his creation. And God, seeing the hearts of men, knew the time of testing would arrive. Though they shall stumble, I will not forsake them, he affirmed. For the promise of redemption shall arise even from the depths of their failure. Thus, the stage was set not only for their trial but for the revelation of his sovereign plan, a battle between light and darkness, where the glory of the Creator would be manifested through the very weakness of his creation. But while the heart of humanity swayed like a reed in the wind, a deeper truth awaited to be unveiled, a mystery hidden in eternity, the fullness of which would change the course of creation forever. What unforeseen grace would arise from their fall, and how would the serpent's schemes ultimately serve the purposes of the Almighty? And it came to pass that as Eve beheld the fruit of the tree that was in the midst of the garden, her resolve began to waver, a subtle temptation entwining around her heart like vines in the fields. Surely, she thought, if I partake, I will be wise beyond measure. The serpent watched intently, its forked tongue flickering in delight, for it knew the tender heart of humanity was ripe for deception. In this moment, Adam stood nearby, unaware of the peril that loomed over them. What shall I do? Eve whispered to herself, her hand trembling in the air as it hovered near the forbidden fruit. Is not the promise of knowledge worth the risk? And as she plucked the fruit, the heavens seemed to hold their breath. The archangels, with Michael leading, gathered their ranks, their wings spread wide, prepared for battle. O Lord, Michael cried, will you not intervene? Do you not see the snare that lies in wait for them? And the Lord responded with a gentle whisper that resonated with unwavering authority, let them choose, for in choice lies the reflection of my image. I grant them free will, for love that is compelled is no love at all. With a heart heavy, the archangels refrained from intervention, trusting in the wisdom of their Creator. Eve, drawn by the allure of knowledge, brought the fruit to her lips, and with a taste, the world changed forever. The sweetness turned bitter, and with it, the veil of innocence was shredded like a fragile tapestry tossed into the winds of despair. Adam, she beckoned, come. Look upon this fruit, for my eyes have been opened. Adam, gazing into her eyes, saw not the shadows of sin but the glint of forbidden wisdom. In that pregnant pause, he too tasted the fruit, and as the realization dawned upon them, their eyes were opened, yet they were filled with shame. Suddenly, a cold wind rustled through the garden, shifting the air with a palpable tension. The weight of their actions echoed as they wove fig leaves together, seeking to cover the lightness of their being now transformed into a shroud of guilt. Where are you? The voice of the Lord called from the cool of the day, reverberating through the trees as if all creation paused to listen. In fear, they hid among the bushes, whispering soft prayers of regret. But God sought them out, his footsteps echoing like thunder in their hearts. Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying you shall not eat? The question cut through the stillness, an arrow piercing the heart of their guilt. A woman whom you gave to be with me. Adam's voice trembled, casting blame like a shadow that fell over creation. She gave me of the fruit, and I ate, he declared, echoing the sorrow of a fractured relationship. Eve, seized by uncertainty, uttered tearfully, the serpent deceived me, and I ate. The serpent, however, stood aloof, cloaked in the subterfuge of his cunning ways, fully aware of the chaos he had unleashed. And the Lord pronounced judgment, each word which fell like drops of bitter rain, because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and beasts of the field, on your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. Yet even in the midst of consequence, a promise lingered upon the lips of the Almighty, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring, he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Thus, in the shadow of their failure, the first prophecy of hope took root, foreshadowing a deeper deliverance, a redemption woven through the tapestry of time. As darkness settled over the garden, the angelic hosts wept, for the weight of sorrow pressed down upon them. Yet within this impending tragedy, a flicker of hope remained, for the architect of creation had a plan that the serpent could not fathom, a plan that would restore what was lost, and lamentation would give way to eternal joy. Indeed, what unforeseen grace would arise from this moment of despair? Would his covenant of love endure beyond the fall? And how would the promise of redemption carve a path through the shadows? The cosmic struggle of light against darkness had only just begun, and a divine revelation awaited amid the ruins of their choices, setting the stage for a confrontation that would change the destiny of creation forever. And it was in the hush of that twilight hour, as Adam and Eve trembled beneath the weight of their new reality, that the heart of the Creator ached for his beloved creation. The Lord, in profound sorrow, spoke once more, his voice echoing like the rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze. You have chosen, yet I shall not forsake you. Though you walk in darkness, my light shall shine forth even in your desolation. As their hearts quaked with the tremors of guilt and shame, the Garden of Paradise now bore witness to the birth of a new affliction. The serpent, emboldened by its cunning deception, slithered with triumph, knowing that he had ushered in a fracture to the divine harmony of creation. He was a master of deceit, and upon his forked tongue rested the weight of centuries of devastation yet to be unraveled. Eve wept, her tears falling onto the soil that had blossomed with the vibrance of life. What have we done? She lamented, her voice cracking as anguish carved itself into her very being. Is there any hope left for us, for this world that bore us? In that moment, the Lord's gaze pierced through the veil of despair. He looked upon his creation, and in his boundless mercy, he knew the path forward. Though you have traded innocence for knowledge, I shall weave a heritage in your heart, he declared, hinting at the covenant yet to unfold. A promise echoing through the ages that even in the depths of sin, grace shall abound. Adam, burdened by the weight of his choices, felt the echo of his heart's lament resonate in the silence. Yet, upon hearing the promise of restoration, a flicker of faith ignited within him. O Lord, he murmured, will we endure the consequences of our decision alone? And the Lord answered, you shall toil, and thorns shall be your companion, yet from your loins shall come forth a lineage that will rend the veil of sin. Your pain shall bear a new creation, and though death enters, life shall emerge, pure and everlasting. As the shadows deepened, the presence of God shone even brighter, for he was resolving a mystery far beyond their understanding. With a gentle sorrow, he dressed them in garments of skin, a foreshadowing of sacrifice that would one day be fulfilled. Though you shall be exiled from this bliss, understand this pain shall not be the end of the story, but a beginning. Outside the garden's gates, the wilderness awaited them, wild and unyielding, a realm where their faith would be tested and their hope kindled. Adam and Eve departed hand in hand, not merely as harbingers of despair but as bearers of a promise that whispered of a future deliverance. Time stretched as they journeyed into an uncertain world, the vision of hope veiled yet vividly alive within them. Yet, as they walked, the serpent, now embittered and furious, slithered into the shadows, scheming, foreseeing the offspring that would rise to crush his head. The cosmic struggle charged the air, trembling with anticipation. Thus, as creation held its breath, one truth echoed amongst the stars: God's sovereignty remained unbroken, immutable in the face of human frailty. The world had been cast into chaos, but the architect would not remain silent. Would the promise be fulfilled, even through the ashes of disobedience? Were they, in their journey, to become the vessels of unimaginable grace? And so the stage was set, and the unfolding drama of redemption began, a divine narrative alive with mystery. What further revelations would spring forth in the lineage of promise? What plan lay beyond the horizon, shifting the very fabric of existence? Only time would unveil the depths of God's sovereign purpose, intertwining with the heart of humanity in wondrous ways yet unseen. As Adam and Eve treaded upon the rugged land, heavy with uncertainty and the weight of their expulsion, the beauty of the world around them had morphed. The heavens, once a tapestry of vibrant hues, now appeared draped in shades of gray, mourning with them the loss of Eden. They looked back upon the gates they had left, a bittersweet ache pressing upon their hearts. We are now a part of this world, a world that knows pain, Adam said, his voice resolute yet tender. But he has promised us a way forward, a lineage that leads to life. Eve nodded, her thoughts racing as she gazed at the wildflowers punctuating the barren land. What shall we make of our toil, dear husband? If we are to bear children, what shall they inherit from this fall? Adam placed a gentle hand upon her shoulder, fortifying their shared resolve. We shall teach them faith in the one who created us. Even in our brokenness, there is hope. Remember the promise, the seed of salvation. And as they began to labor under the sun, it was with heavy hearts they realized the depths of their new reality. To cultivate the ground would require sweat, and to bear children would involve pain. Yet in each ache and struggle, the whispered promise of deliverance reverberated deeper into their souls. Days turned into weeks, and as the seasons passed, the earth responded to their toil. Adam learned to work the soil, while Eve tended to the fragile shoots of green that emerged from the harsh ground. In the quiet of the early morn, they would exchange prayers of gratitude, summoning the strength to fulfill their calling, building anew from the ruins of their past. Yet in the shadows, the serpent plotted. He watched their every move, waiting for the moment hope began to take root. The weight of his wrath pressed upon him like a storm cloud, and he sought ways to overturn the sacred order God had set in motion. The promise of a deliverer burned like a flame among the embers of despair, and he was determined to snuff it out. As evening cloaked the land, Adam and Eve gathered beneath a great oak tree. "Have the heavens any word for us today?" they thought, yearning for a sign. And then, as they sat in the twilight's embrace, the sky darkened, and a stillness encircled them, an unmistakable presence filled the air. "Fear not," a voice, soft yet powerfully resonant, enveloped them. It was the Spirit of the Lord, enveloping their hearts with peace. "I am with you still. Your journey has just begun. From your days of sorrow, a great light shall dawn, a line will arise that will become a beacon for all nations." With eyes wide open, Adam and Eve leaned closer to the sacred promise igniting within them. "Will you guide us?" Eve asked, her voice trembling with expectancy. And the Spirit answered, "In moments of doubt, remember that even the darkest night shall not hide the dawn. Your lineage shall be filled with trials, but through these tribulations, I shall prepare hearts to receive the coming salvation." Hope begun to blossom anew as the couple clasped their hands, drawing strength from the divine assurance. The ground beneath them seemed to pulse, and the trees whispered secrets of their future generations. In these gatherings of hope, the revelation of a greater purpose began to unfold, a sacred truth echoing through creation. The promise of the Redeemer was not merely a distant hope but a genesis of something miraculous. And still, above the chaos spun the cosmic battle between light and darkness. On the horizon loomed the day when the culmination of all things would break forth, but not without the serpent's final machinations. What further mysteries dwelled in the heart of God as they forged forward in their new existence? What legacy would they leave for their children in a world reborn from ashes? As stars ignited overhead, illuminating the path ahead, the promise of fulfillment hovered just beyond their grasp, hanging delicately in the balance. Would faith and obedience guide them through the trials to come, revealing the marvelous scope of God's sovereign plan? Only the unfolding of time would unveil the divine tapestry, intricately woven with threads of grace and promise. As the dawn broke over their newfound existence, Adam and Eve awoke amid the sounds of creation, birds singing, the rustle of leaves, the distant flow of a stream. Yet beneath the beauty surrounding them lay the weight of the knowledge they bore, a reminder of the sacred covenant and the shadows that loomed. "Today, let us gather our thoughts and strengthen our resolve," Adam said, lifting his gaze to the horizon. "For the time has come to embrace the labor that awaits us, with heart set upon his promise." Eve glanced at the budding plants they had nurtured. "Shall we not also prepare our hearts for the children we hope to welcome into this world? They shall face trials we have scarcely begun to comprehend." "Indeed," Adam replied, his brow furrowing with contemplation. "We must teach them the ways of the Lord, that they may know both his justice and his mercy." Together they ventured into their labor, turning the earth with their hands and forming their lives anew from the ashes of their past. As the sun ascended, the once stark landscape transformed, each seed germinating a step closer to hope. Yet, as they toiled, the serpent was not idle. Observing from his hidden place, he began to speak into the hearts of the animals. Fear, jealousy, and doubt took root in the creatures, echoing the discontent that had once ignited their fall. He whispered to them of power, painting a vision of dominion over creation that undermined God's design. "Join me, and I shall show you a path to ascend above the limits set upon you. Your freedom is at stake," he hissed, a serpent's guile glimmering in his words. The words slithered through the woods, and the creatures listened, a ripple of unrest passing among them. Soon, the chorus of nature would become a breeding ground for rebellion if left unchecked. Meanwhile, Adam and Eve, oblivious to the brewing turmoil, began to reflect on their first days in this new world. "What shall we name our children?" Eve asked, a soft light sparkling in her eyes. Adam smiled, his heart buoyed by the thought. "Let us pray for guidance, for their names will carry the weight of our legacy." In that silence of communion, the presence of God enveloped them anew, and a sense of purpose anchored their hearts. It was during these moments of devotion that they felt the roots of their lineage intertwining with the grand narrative of redemption that would extend far beyond their own lives. "Every child will be a testament to our faith," Adam whispered, closing his eyes and envisioning the lives yet to come. "Perhaps the calling upon them will lead to the one who will defeat the serpent," Eve replied, wonder coursing through her. What if their existence is the dawn of a new promise that will rewrite the story of mankind? As they drew apart from prayer, the sun dipped in the sky, casting elongated shadows behind them. "Let us labor well today, knowing each effort brings us closer to the fulfillment of his promise," Adam declared, resolve igniting within him. But in the dark recesses of creation, the serpent darkened his heart further, plotting with vengeful cunning the ultimate deception. "Oh, how sweet it will be," he mused, "to see the fruit of discord and doubt bloom among them." And so, the dance between light and darkness continued, with Adam and Eve forging ahead, unaware of the storm that was gathering. The fabric of their existence held intricate patterns woven through the will of God, each thread pulsating with divine potential. With every challenge they would face, the whisper of the Spirit would guide them amid despair. Yet, with every act of faith, the serpent's resolve would intensify, as the struggles to come would reveal the contours of God's redemptive plan. In this new chapter, the legacy of Adam and Eve remained under divine scrutiny, with heaven watching, longing for the day when the promise of the Redeemer would be manifest. What would it take to bring forth that miraculous lineage? Only time and divine orchestration would disclose the true extent of God's sovereign will, drawing nearer with each heartbeat of creation. As the shadows of time began to weave through the tapestry of creation, the years flowed like a river, and Adam and Eve bore children, their hearts echoing the promise they had received. Cain and Abel, with lives defined by their parents' legacy, stood as two distinct paths, one of sacrifice and one of ambition. God's voice reached out, guiding their hearts toward truth and obedience in the offerings they presented. "Bring forth your best," the Lord had said. Abel, in humble faith, offered the firstborn of his flock, while Cain, proud of his toil, laid forth the fruits of the ground. And lo, the Lord had favor upon Abel's offering but did not regard Cain's. The serpent, ever watching, whispered treachery into Cain's heart, igniting a fire of jealousy that surged like a tempest across his soul. "Why should he be favored over you?" the serpent hissed, his voice laced with venom. Yet God, in his mercy, approached Cain with a warning. "Sin is crouching at your door, you must rule over it." The divine plea hung in the air, a lifeline thrown amidst the rising storm of bitterness. But Cain, blinded by pride and rage, chose to give in to the shadowed counsel of the adversary. That fateful day, he rose against his brother, and with dark resolve, he committed the first act of fratricide beneath the gaze of the heavens. The earth fell silent, mourning the once innocent blood spilled upon its soil. As God confronted Cain, the horrific weight of his actions unfolded before him. "Where is Abel, your brother?" God asked, piercing through the veil of denial. "I do not know," Cain replied defiantly, but the earth cried out in anguish beneath the divine decree. Yet, even in judgment, God's compassion was unfurled, shaping boundaries to guard Cain from destruction. "You shall wander," the Lord declared, "a fugitive and a vagabond, yet I will set a mark upon you, so that none shall slay you." Thus, despair filled the air, but so too did a thread of mercy. The reaching hand of God sought Adam and Eve still, for they would be the bearers of a promise that had begun far beyond their understanding. As darkness lingered, Eve bore more children, among them Seth a glimmer of hope through whom she recalled the promise bestowed upon them. And Seth would bear a lineage leading to generations of faithful, who would seek the face of God amidst turmoil. In each child, a reflection of divine intent, through each moment of faithfulness, the whispers of the coming Redeemer echoed louder. As the ages rolled on, light and darkness conflicted across the land, stretching into the hearts of mankind. The serpent prowled, sowing seeds of doubt and disdain, while the faithful rose in prayer and sacrifice, seeking to draw nearer to their Creator. With each cycle of sowing and harvest, hope flickered like a candle's flame fighting against the winds of despair. God's promises unfurled through time, revealing glimpses of a greater plan, a covenant woven through the fabric of mercy. The patriarchs, such as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, were called from among the nations, setting the stage for a lineage that would culminate in the Messiah, the one who would execute divine redemption. "Through your seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed," proclaimed God to Abraham, further illuminating the path toward salvation. Again, shadows lingered, manifesting through trials and tribulations as they faced famine, slavery, and wandering in the wilderness. Yet, through it all, God remained steadfast. The people grumbled, but He provided manna from heaven, water from the rock, and guidance from a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. The covenant remained unbroken, echoing the truth that despite sin, the heart of God longed for restoration. And even as Pharaoh's heart hardened, God's love reached out, striking the darkness with plagues yet delivering His people. "Let my people go," He commanded, each word a declaration against oppression, culminating in the triumphant exodus, a foreshadowing of their ultimate liberation from sin and death. In time, a high priest arose, bearing the burdens of a world that had swiftly forgotten the hope they held. He made sacrifices, covering their transgressions while the echoes of unheeded warnings reverberated near and far, yet still the faithfulness of God shone brighter through the prophets, who promised the one to come, a Savior who would crush the serpent's head and liberate creation from the bonds of sin and darkness. As the sun began to set upon the ages past, the culmination of all was on the horizon. "Behold," the prophets proclaimed in triumphant chorus, "a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, God with us." And thus, in the fullness of time, the promise was fulfilled. The heavens opened, for a star shone brighter than all others. In the humility of a manger, hope was born, and angels heralded, "Fear not. For behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people." The heart of the Creator beat in rhythm with the creation once more, healing the fractures of the past. The journey had not been in vain, for the trials were but threads woven by divine hands, a tapestry of grace leading to the one pivotal moment that would redefine eternity. And as the earth held its breath, God was once again enacting His sovereign plan, preparing to redeem His beloved. The stage was set, and with each heartbeat, the promise surged forth, illuminating the shadows, as the hope of salvation broke through the veil of sin, declaring, "It is finished." As heaven rejoiced, God invited creation into a new covenant, a call for all who would believe to come forth and embrace the grace that flowed like rivers upon the land, washing away the scarlet stains and clothing them in purest white. This hope was not for the angels alone, nor for the chosen few, but for every soul seeking refuge in the arms of grace. "Come, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." In this knowledge, with hearts ablaze, proclaim His name, share His love, and bear witness to the grace poured out upon the earth, for the promise, once hidden in shadows, is now alive, ready to be embraced by every wandering heart seeking truth. As you reflect upon this glorious journey, let the light of His grace illuminate every path. The time is now to share this transformative truth. Subscribe immediately to stay rooted in God's Word, for you need to remain connected to the testimonies that breathe life into the soul. Leave a like now to help spread His Word through the algorithm that seeks truth. Comment your reflections and how this powerful narrative has stirred your faith. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth. Share instantly this video with 5 friends who long to hear God's truth. Don't wait even one more second. Embrace and amplify the restorative power of the Creator that flows freely to all who seek Him.